I never imagined that El Salvador would change us this much, but after 9 months of living here, it feels more like home than I ever expected. Many people reach out to me as they're planning their escape from their home countries, and they have picked El Salvador as their plan B. I get questions all the time like, is El Salvador really safe? Can you actually build a new life there? Isn't it a third world country? After 9 months of living here, I finally have the answers. Let's talk about El Salvador. As usual, I'll have our monthly living expenses report, and you won't believe how much cheaper it is to live here than in Canada. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y bendiciones para todos ustedes. Good afternoon, my friends, and blessings to you all. Hi, my name is Charity Hagenaars, and bienvenido a mi canal if you're new here, y bienvenido de nuevo if we're already old friends. I cannot believe how time flies. 9 months ago, we departed Canada at the Montreal airport with 3 cats, 3 kids, 5 backpacks, every suitcase we had, and a shipping container, and we moved to El Salvador. Our entire family and most of our friends thought that we were loco. You know what I'm saying? And if you too are considering El Salvador as your plan B country, your family and friends might be feeling the same way. So come along with us for a monthly summary of how we are living our best lives in El Salvador and how much does it really cost. So this first section is called People and Culture. I want to talk a little bit about the people that are wanting to come here because of the people and culture here. So last month I started a WhatsApp group called Ask Me Anything. This is because so many people have been emailing me or reaching out to us in other ways and asking lots of questions, asking a lot of the same questions. So I figured let's just get a WhatsApp group together so when I give the answer, it goes to everyone because someone asked one question one time that might apply to somebody else. So let's just share the knowledge. I thought that was a great idea. So I started inviting all the people that were writing to me, and then I started writing to the people that are already here saying, hey, do you want to join our group? Because they already live here too. They have the same answers or maybe better answers than me. Maybe they have answers to questions I haven't even thought of yet. I just figured it was a great way to share lots of advice to as many people as possible. And it turns out we're making our own little kind of community here, a little expat online group, I guess you could say. And some of these people are just coming for the first time on a scouting trip. Some have already made up their mind and they're already buying or building a house here. Some are already like on their way within the next week or two. They're coming with their suitcases. And some of us, like me and a couple other people, we already came here, but just sort of recently. And we had a couple people that have been here quite a while. So it's a broad spectrum of people wanting to make El Salvador their new home or already have. I have the link in the description below because we also started a weekly Monday meeting with everyone from the group. I'm just calling it a weekly hangout, or as a couple times I brought in a couple of special guests that could answer more questions for people that, I don't have all the information on. So I'm going to keep trying to do that, bring in a special guest every now and again, but it's every Monday night. The details are in the description below. You just need a Google account and it's a Google Meets link and you just click it. It's Monday, 7 p.m. El Salvador time. So that's like 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight time right now. The people of El Salvador have treated us with awesome hospitality, and we just want to pass that on to anyone else who wants to come along. Pay it forward. We had a neighbor come over a couple weeks ago with a newspaper with all these avocados wrapped up inside it, and she said to make sure that they stayed in the newspaper because it helps them ripen better. Now, I wouldn't even known that. I didn't even know that. Like in Canada, we buy avocados. I would just kind of keep them out until they get ripe and then put them in the fridge, or put them in the fridge and take one out and use one at a time kind of thing. I didn't know the newspaper thing helped keep the humidity in to help them ripen better. So that was something one of the locals taught me recently. And I started buying all my fruits and vegetables from the same lady that has a little market stand just along the highway on the way to the school. On Saturdays, I teach English, so I'm done at 10. I come home, but Willem's not done till 11:30, so I got to go back to the school. And if you know anything about El Salvador highways, they're all divided, and there's only so many places you could turn left in and turn and go back the other direction. So I have to go past her stand to get around to the Opico roundabout to go back to the school to get Willem. So I passed her stand, and I'm like, I'm going to start buying my fruits and vegetables there from a local farmer. So she recognizes me, always throwing in an extra tomato, an extra pepper or something. So we're building this great relationship, and she's a really nice lady. Everyone here says, buenos dias or buenas tardes or buenas noches, I guess, if I'm out at night. And everyone here is just so kind and loving. I'm really hoping it wears off on my kids. We're working on that. We have a new orthodontist for Willem when he got his braces last month, and he's really nice to us, amazing. He speaks a little English, and he's funny, treating us very nice and very kind. And even our dentist who did our cleanings and my husband's tooth extraction kind of, went out of his way to explain things to us, which is great. Although he didn't speak any English, so Stan was there translating for us. But we're working on our Spanish still. People here are just kind, and I think it has to do with their shared history of living through maybe the Civil War or at the very latest, the gang violence in this country. I think we can all relate to 5 years ago when we all had to live through, COVID and all that stuff. We all had that shared experience of what it felt like being locked in our homes and told not to go to work or leave the house or, only go grocery shopping at certain times of the day and wear a mask. And we all kind of lived through that shared experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, these people here lived through the gang lifestyle and for many, many years, not just a couple years, many, many years. So they know now what it's like to live without the gangs. And I think there's that blossoming, the gratitude or the changes that have been made, or just the feeling of a new beginning, like a flower blooming in the spring. It's like, wow, this is how El Salvador could be. I could start my own little tienda. I could go and get an education. I can go out at night. I could go out with friends at night without being in fear of my life. So I think that living that shared experience just makes people have this real gratitude in their heart. And I think that's what I see all the time. When people greet me on the streets, there's just a deep kindness with that. There's definitely this feeling of being happy to be here in this country right now. And I'm hoping that we share that with everyone too. We're coming from Canada. We're very grateful to escape that crazy that was going on there. Very grateful that we've been accepted in El Salvador. And we want to share that kindness, that helpful spirit with everyone that we see. El Salvador is truly the land of opportunity. And it's not in the way of how do I make myself rich? It's not like that. It's more in the spirit of how do I make my whole country great? It's just more community oriented and not individualistic. That's what I love about being here. Maybe in Canada it was more like a go, go, go and do better for yourself and get yourself rich and it's all about me, me, me. I think there's that selfishness in Canada. Where here it's not like that. It's all about us. What can we do? How can we all get together and make this country amazing? That's what's different about here. I believe that is what I truly feel inside. Canada is very selfish and more about everyone living for themselves. And in El Salvador, it's living together as a community. That's the difference here. Right now, we have everyone's favorite part of the video, except maybe mine. This one takes so long to do. I actually had to film this at 2 different times because it took me so long to get these numbers up to date. So here goes. What is the cost of living in El Salvador for a month? Now remember, this is just my family. Yours may be different. Starting out again with our rent, includes the security for the complex, $600. Electricity was $102.61. And I just noticed the bill came in for next month. It's $105. So this is probably our new norm. Water's $2.39. It's been the same for many months now. Our drinking water is approximately $62 depending on how many bottles we're getting. Cooking gas, we had to get 2 canisters this month because the one we put in to replace the one that was empty, it disappeared very fast. It had a bit of a leak in it. So we noticed that it was smelling a little bit. We thought it was okay, but it wasn't. It was slowly leaking gas into the kitchen, which was in the cupboard, but didn't really notice it. And the tank ran out very fast. So we ended up getting that one replaced and the empty one replaced. So that was 2 tanks of gas, $24. Our internet, like I mentioned last month, went down again. I don't know why. I looked at the bills. There were some that were 36 and there were some that were 32. Right now we're at $32.98. I have no idea why. And I tried to open up the bill to see if there was some overage for the other months. No, I couldn't even open it up. The program wasn't working or something. For a cell phone, I just got my $15 plan and a $12 plan for GJ and Willem. I stopped giving Annika and Lawrence a $12 plan because they were just wasting it at school and running out of their data before the month even came to an end. So that's down to $39. For groceries, it was no big PriceSmart order this month and no meat order, just some regular things here and there at the grocery store. So it was only $2.76. It also includes going to get the fruits and vegetables from the lady down the road. For donations, I actually did a few donations this month, $86.05. We went to a Mi Casa Kids fundraiser at the beach last week, and it was $21 a person. I took me, Annika, and Lawrence. And there was another couple on YouTube that were fundraising for something. I gave them some money, so that's where that comes from. And for school, that's the busing, $72.50. Eating out, we're at $331.91, more than our groceries this month. Interesting. Entertainment was $16.47. That is just one Amazon channel and Netflix. Household goods, this is a big one, $1439.28. $1,030 of that is for the furniture. Remember last month I told you that I just got the furniture, but I wouldn't be paying for it until the next month because it was the 21st of April, I believe they came on. Also, $125 that is for a housekeeper. She comes every Mondays. It's $25 each time she comes. That's been 5 Mondays. In this month, that's $125. And I just did a great big team you order, so look out for that video. That was $260-ish of that one. For transportation, it's $107.31. That's for a tank of gas and for Stan to take GJ to the airport. For medical, we have $612.60. Now that is our trip to the dentist for a cleaning, GJ's tooth extraction, 3 fillings for Willem, putting braces on Willem, that was $300 all by itself, and some pain meds that GJ got from when he got his tooth extracted. So that's what our medical dental is. I'm calling it medical dental now. It used to be medicine, but now it's more broad. It's medical and dental. Pets is zero because pet food is usually on our PriceSmart order. So that is a grand total of $3,805.30. Now, if you take out the $1,000 for the furniture and say just the $300 just for braces, you're down to $2,475.30, and that still includes all our dental cleanings and extraction and fillings and everything else. I mean, it could be a little bit lower if you don't eat out as much as we do. It totally could be lower. For a family of 5 living here, $2,500 or less is totally doable. Once you're well established, once you have all your furniture and your cars and all that stuff purchased, the monthly living expenses are very reasonable in El Salvador. The food. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know my family is big Pollo Campero people. But I did mention last month we did finally go to Pollo Campestre for the first time. Actually, I think we went twice, but it was the first time we had gone there. And I do think the meal is actually tastier. The chicken's juicier, and there's a dessert with the family meal. I really like it, and they have really good iced coffee. But again, it's not everywhere. I think Pollo Campero is just at every block almost. We have one at Metro Centro Lourdes up here, and one at the Encuentro O Pico Mall just down there. You know, we're like bookend by Pollo Camperos here. So again, we were there the other night just as a family eating out again. And the other places that we've tried, we've had pizza from about 3 or 4 different places. My favorite is Little Caesars. I know it's not even a chain in El Salvador, but I'm not sure I ate Little Caesars until I got here. I don't think we had ever ordered from Little Caesars in Canada. I'm not even sure if we had one in Smiths Falls. I'm pretty sure I didn't eat there because I really like their little cupcake things. They're called Crazy Puffs, and they're just like a little bit of a dough, like a cupcake or a tart maybe, filled with like the sauce, the cheese, the pepperoni, and they're just really juicy and delicious. I really, really like it. Sometimes you get a pizza and it's too dry. This is sort of like the opposite, and I get a little pack of 4 just for myself, and that's my pizza for the night, and the kids eat the regular pizza. The other pizza place we've tried are Pizza Siciliana and Italy pizza. But I think this Little Caesars is the best. I know, not Salvadorian. I actually don't know if other ones are Salvadorian either. I don't know if there's a Salvadorian pizza place. Please, if you know in the comments, tell me if there's a Salvadorian pizza place. Because if there's one that's truly from here, maybe we'll try that one next. These are the ones sort of around us or in the Pedidos Ya app. If we're going to order out, sometimes we just order through that app and get some takeout. It's very convenient. Once you get here, even if you're on your scouting trip, put the app on your phone because there's probably going to be one night you're not going to want to go out to eat, or you don't feel like leaving the house, or maybe you can't get out because you have some stuff going on in the bathroom you have to stay close to the bathroom for or something. You might want to order in. So download the app and then you can go to all the restaurants there. The other thing is we've ordered lots of pupusas from there. There's several pupuserias on there. There's the Suzia Pupuseria, I think I've said that right. And there's another one around here called Pupuseria Laila. It's in Lourdes. We've ordered from there the last time we ordered pupusas, and they were pretty good. But today's topic on food is going to be about the ice cream. If you're coming to a hot country, you got to know where the good treats are to cool you down. And there are 2 main ice cream shops in El Salvador. There's Sarita and there's La Neveria. I hope I said that right. I'm always getting the I in the wrong spot. But I can tell you the difference between these 2 places because we've eaten at them many, many times. Starting with the most important thing, they both have iced coffee. However, Sarita has the best iced coffee, or at least the mocha frappe. They have actually quite a few. That's the only one I've been kind of sticking with. Mocha frappe, I've had it 2 or 3 times now. It's made with real coffee, with the beans and everything right there, and they grind it and they make it, and it is so delicious. When you drink it, you can just taste the aroma of the coffee right there. Like, it's just amazing. La Neveria, their coffee, I believe it's cold coffee in a jug in the fridge, which I'm okay with. However, they use coffee ice cream to make it, and you just don't have that full-bodied coffee flavor in it. So I don't think it's as good as Sarita. So I'm going to say that's top notch for the iced coffee. Now for the iced cream, we actually got an ice cream cake from Sarita for Mother's Day, and that was so creamy. Like, we used to get ice cream cake from Dairy Queen in Canada all the time. It's pretty creamy at Dairy Queen too, but perhaps they make their ice creams more milk than cream, whereas here there was definitely way more cream. Like, I don't know what it is about it. You eat it, you can just taste the cream in it. It's so delicious. So the ice cream cakes are there. I don't know if La Neveria has ice cream cakes. I never looked in their fridges, but I did look at Sarita when we were there getting my iced coffee. I'm like, oh, they have ice cream cakes. So I got that. It was totally delicious. And probably price point wise, it was about the same as the Dairy Queen cake. In Canada, the big Dairy Queen cakes are $35 Canadian. And I think this was 20, maybe 28, 25. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was about the same price, I think, if you just converted it to Canadian. So I'm going to say their ice cream cakes are top notch at Sarita. Now their ice cream, I actually was at Maxi Despensa and I saw the Sarita ice cream half-gallon tubs, and they were $5 a tub. This is important. Maxi Despensa, $5 a tub. Delicious ice cream. When we were out the other night, I said, let's get a couple more of these half-gallon ice creams. So first, because the place we're at has both ice cream stores, we went to La Neveria. And I saw that their 2 half-gallons had a special for $10.50, but they're regularly $6.25, maybe a half a gallon. It was $10.50 for 2. I thought, okay, well, Sarita was cheaper, at least at Maxi Despensa. It would have only been $10 for 2. So we walked down to the Sarita. I got my iced coffee, and I looked. They didn't have a special. Each half-gallon was, I think, $6.25 or $6.50, something like that. I'm like, oh, okay, so you can't get the special you get at Maxi Despensa for the same ice cream at the shop that makes the ice cream. I thought that's not cool. So if you want to get the Sarita ice cream, I would suggest going to Maxi Despensa because clearly they have some sort of affiliate program and they sell it cheaper than the actual Sarita store. So we end up not getting it there. We end up getting the La Neveria ice cream, and that was delicious too. I mean, the quality of ice cream is pretty good. Maybe Sarita's slightly creamier. I'd have to do like a taste test one with the other. I have no complaints about either. They're very good ice cream. And if you want a nice cool treat, I would suggest going there. They do ice cream cones, ice cream sundaes, banana splits, like the whole kit and caboodle. And they have the waffle cones. Some have the chocolate on them, chocolate with sprinkles on them. You can get sprinkles on the ice cream. Like they do everything there. No problem. But I like iced coffee. So I'm going to go to Sarita for the iced coffee. And they're all over the place. There's at the Metro Centro de Lourdes, they have La Neveria actually has 2 stores there and a Sarita, and there's a Sarita right beside the Maxi Despensa where we go to get the ice cream inside that's cheaper, and there's at the other end at the Opico Encuentro Mall, they have both there as well. So no shortage of finding ice cream anywhere around El Salvador. Just drive a little bit and you'll see one of the stores, and if you want iced coffee, go to Sarita. Safety and security. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little tale. I'm not saying this will ever be repeated again anywhere, anytime. So on the day we went to the dentist, all 5 of us went in for a cleaning. My husband had to get a tooth extraction. So we were there quite a while, I think 2 hours in total. So after Lawrence got his teeth cleaned, he went home because it literally is a 5-minute walk to our house. And then he came back when it was time for us to leave. And then we went out for the day and had Pollo Campero with Stan with us. We drove around, we did some tourist type stuff, and then we came home. And as I'm driving past our house, because I drive past our house at the end of the street, I turn around so I can face out next time we leave. So I drove past the house. I was looking at the house. I did my little turnabout, came back, looked at the house again. Like, I can see right through the house. As in, the door isn't even shut. We left the whole day. When Lawrence left the house to come back to the dentist, he never shut the door. Because normally during the daytime, we have the doors wide open for the breeze to come through. And we have the garage with the barred gate out there, but, we don't lock that very often. Well, not when we're home, especially. But he had left, so he didn't lock that gate, and he didn't even shut the door to lock the door. And we were out all day with the door literally wide open. Maybe it would have been more suspicious to somebody if our door was shut because, again, we leave the door open all the time. We have my laptop here. My kids have their school laptops and everything, TV, whatever. Nothing was touched. Nobody was in our house. I don't recommend ever doing that again. And Lawrence had a very stern talking to, we'll say, about never doing that again. It was quite a surprise to all of us to have seen the door wide open because the first thought is, did somebody break in and leave the door open? And then the second thought was, who left the house last and left the door open? Anyway, it was Lawrence. He left the door open. This place is so safe and secure. We were gone all day, the door wide open, and nobody even walked into the house. Isn't that crazy? Whereas to compare with in Canada, we had a generator on our deck, and it was stolen while we've been here. So, yeah, don't think Canada's all safe and secure. We were out in the country in the middle of nowhere. Well, in the middle of nowhere on a highway, but in the middle of nowhere between 2 towns. And yeah, our generator was stolen. So which one's safer? I think it's El Salvador. I never feel scared going out around or anything, even at night. And Lawrence does take walks around the complex, even outside the complex at night with no issues. He goes to visit his friends from school in the complex beside us. Although we've had people we had one person come by the gate to tell us that Lawrence had left the complex at night. And we had to get the translator out because she spoke no English. She said something like, I think he lives here. He goes with the phone, he's tall, whatever. And I said, yeah, that's my son. She said, well, he's going to the next complex. I'm like, oh, okay. That's where his friend is. But because it was at night, I don't know if people are living sort of under the old thinking that, oh my gosh, it's dark, children should not be outside. But I have no trouble with Lawrence walking around at 7:30 at night. To me, that's not even very late. But it's dark here at 6. It's dark, but it's not late. And he's just going to visit his friends. I think it was a Friday or Saturday night. I think there's still some people here that feel that maybe things are how they were 3 years ago, but I don't have that feeling. To me, El Salvador right now is what Canada was like when I grew up in the 80s. It has that feeling of safety and security for kids to go out at night. But it's going to take a little bit of time for the people who lived through the gang era to feel safe and secure after dark, I think, especially with kids around. But to me, this is just like how Canada was. And I loved my childhood in Canada. It was a really great time in the 80s in Canada. Adjusting to the language. We're still working on this, especially with the kids. We have a housekeeper now, and it is so quiet when she is here because I'm afraid to say anything. I'm getting tired of having to pull out my translator and translate everything. I need to get a lot more confidence just speaking, even making mistakes. And I need to learn to comprehend people even when they're speaking very quickly. I reached out to Academia Europea. They're actually just around the corner from here in the mall. I'm going to see if I'm getting some classes for me and some classes for the kids, maybe in person for the kids, online for me, something like that. Something we can work on our language, together, all of us. Maybe not Willem so much. He's doing okay. But Annika and Lawrence, they are struggling. I have to tell the truth. They are struggling because of the language and making friends. And our goal for them to come here this year specifically was for them to learn the language and to make friends. And they kind of go hand in hand. If you know the language, it's easier to make friends. And both of them want to make friends. That's not the issue. They're getting frustrated with the language barrier, and we're going to try to help them out. The principal told me that Willem has many Spanish words. Willem likes going to school, so that really helps. Where Annika and Lawrence, maybe not as much. They really wanted it for the social aspect, and like I said, that's the part that's lacking right now. So we're going to address this. I also find that Lawrence and Annika always say they have no homework, and when I went through their workbooks, I see they're not doing any work. So I'm sitting down with them in the evenings now, and we're going through, not even the evening, they get home at 1:30 from school, sometimes earlier depending on the traffic. So we're going through the rest of the school day, we'll say, till like 4 o'clock, doing other work at home, including just going through their workbook, even just translating with the phone and reading the text, because there's a lot of text for Lawrence to read for his class. Also, the principal gave me all of Lawrence's teachers' phone numbers. This is because Lawrence said, I have this assignment due. It's about the ocean. I said, well, what are you going to do? And he sent me a picture of like a diorama of an ocean. He said the teacher told him to make something like this. I'm like, okay, I don't really know what the assignment is. What is the diorama supposed to be addressing exactly? So anyway, I reached out to that teacher to find out exactly what that was about. And basically it is just making a diorama about the ocean. So we printed out some stuff and he has till next week to bring it in. So we're going to work on it over the weekend and get that done, because originally he said it's due Friday. Well, Friday's tomorrow, and tomorrow is Parent-Teacher Day, and there's no school for the kids. Also, tomorrow's the day we get the report cards, so that should be interesting. Because Lawrence has autism, we've decided to medicate him again, just to make it a little easier for him to work in the school system, sitting down, not be jumping up and running around all the time, just to be more focused. The principal's also going to be pairing Annika and Lawrence up with a high school student each, and they will sit with them in class. This has to do with the kids' volunteer hours they have to graduate. So a couple of them are going to sit with each of them during their school days. I assume these kids can speak a little English, just to help them navigate through the system. And with Lawrence being medicated, it will definitely make that a lot easier, because he'd be more focused on the lesson that the other student is trying to help him with. So all in all, the kids are adapting okay. We're not giving up on an all Spanish school yet. We're just working on it. As we all learn the language and the culture in this country, we will all adapt, and we'll be able to make El Salvador truly feel like home when we can speak fluently to everyone that we see on the street. I can't wait to that day. So let's talk a little bit about infrastructure and utilities. And I'm going to tell you a story from this week. On Tuesday, I woke up around 9 something with a phone call after the kids had already gone off to school and I went back to bed. And I woke up with a phone call and I realized the power is not on because my fan in the ceiling isn't going on, my other fan's not on. I was like, oh, what's the point of getting out of bed now? There's no power. I went back to sleep and then my alarm went off to wake Willem up. I did that. I said, well, there's no power. You can use a little bit of water to brush your teeth, but you're not going to have enough water to take a shower, because on Tuesday we don't have ANDA water. We're using our cistern water until sometime in the afternoon. Then the ANDA water turns on. And of course, if anyone has ever had a well pump in, say, Canada or anywhere else, with no electricity, there's no pump. So, we do get some gravity thing going on here because the cistern's raised high in the air, but the pump is also the pressure tank that gives you the water pressure for a shower. So I told them, just use some water to brush your teeth. And then I finally get out of bed when the kids come home. They're like, oh, there's no power. We're so bored, right? Kids, electronics. So I did get out of bed that time. I did take a little quick shower with whatever water was left because I was hot by this time because there's no fans on giving any breeze. So Annika and I played a whole bunch of games. And then by the end of the night, we're like, okay, you know what? let's just go to the pool and enjoy ourselves. And we had a great time at the pool. And the pool has electric gate, but I wasn't sure if it was just our power that was out or the whole complex. I told Lawrence to go down to the store to see if they had power. And she said they were on a different utility company. And I thought, that's interesting. The pool gate also is electronic, and that was working because I asked him to check the pool before we went to make sure we could get in, because she's not going to be able to swipe a card if there's no power. Or maybe the guard just left it open, I thought maybe. But they had power there. So they seem to have a different utility company in the same complex than us. I'm not sure how that works. I don't think they meant generator power, which I guess they could have if you would have heard any generators running, or if they had solar or something. Not sure. When I used the WhatsApp to contact our electric company in the morning because I wasn't sure if it was just our power or everyone's power. And when I went to the WhatsApp and I said hola, and then they come up with the menu and it says report power outage. I did that one. Then they wanted to know my account number. I told them that, and they said, well, we don't have any reports of a power outage in that area, which this is key to later on. And I said, I don't have power, blah, blah, blah. I did the whole thing, and they're like, okay, we took down your information. And then I find out from my friend when I mentioned in our Ask Me Anything WhatsApp group that, hey, we don't have any power today. She said, oh, it's a planned outage in this area because the highway construction. It was from 8:30 to 4:30. I thought that was weird that they actually didn't tell me when I went to report it that it was actually a planned outage. And then it came into question as like, how do we find that information out? And they use Facebook and they use X. And our group has a community group. I don't think it's super active, to be honest, because I don't get a lot of stuff there. But some people, like my friend, their group is pretty active, and their security guard had already posted the notice saying that the power will be out from 8:30 to 4:30. So I took that same notice and took the link where it came from so I can go to that site later on if I have any issues and see if there's supposed to be a planned outage or not. Because I think it said Friday, actually, there's another planned outage here, 8 to 11 or something like that. So it's good to have that information. It's also good to have community groups. I really like the idea of people having a community group. I just don't think ours is very active, or maybe there's more than one. Maybe I need to go back to Facebook and look that up. And there's also like community buy and sell groups. That's great too. But getting back to our infrastructure, the highway. If you remember last month when I gave you our monthly talk, I talked about the landslides. Well, we actually had 2 right in a row. So they had the highway closed up until May 11th to actually fix the problem with the landslides, hopefully for good, and to not have another repeat landslide. Well, I've seen little videos of that highway, what it's going to look like what it looks like now, kind of in the 3D model, what it will look like. It is going to be fantastic. And it's going to be, I think, 4 lanes, pretty much the whole entire stretch. I noticed one area they're building just after our house here, it's got a rounded part, so it must be a roundabout. They're doing one side of it now, and I guess we'll start driving on that side and they'll do the other side. It's really hard doing a big highway like this when people are driving on it all the time. It's amazing how much work goes into it. And we've been here 9 months, and I don't know how many, I think it was 2 years before that they'd started working on this. So this is quite the project. I think it's something like, was it $300 million, or it's a very large dollar value for this highway. And I know that they just finished the Surf City 2, and I think there's some more highways projects on the go, as well as many things like hospitals and other things. So this country is in the process of totally rebuilding itself. And that's what I love about, people say the whatever is not good. Well, just wait a half a year and it'll be perfect by then. And as far as these new highways I'm talking about, a lot of them are putting lots of lights up. And I think I mentioned in another video, sometimes they have those lights up like the blue, white, blue, and it's just a stick light. And supposedly if there's an accident up ahead, that's supposed to all turn red so that you know what's happening. The other night coming back from Pollo Campero, our highway was, funneled down to 1 lane, and it took us so long. The whole thing's about 3 kilometers away, and it took us about 30 minutes to get home because we're all funneled down to 1 lane of traffic, and it was so super busy. It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, so it was not a rush hour time, but it was definitely took a long time to get through all that traffic. Once we get past the bottleneck, everything was like free flowing. But just reducing down to 1 lane, because there's just so much traffic on this road that reducing to 1 lane pinches everyone up for like a good half an hour. So when it turns into a 4-lane highway each direction, that's going to be amazing. It's going to be woo woo woo. We're going to be flying back and forth. And now that they're putting another traffic circle in, it makes it easier. Like I mentioned, it's all divided. So you get on the highway, even if you want to go left, you can't. You got to go right until you get to a place where you can turn around. Either do a U-turn, because they have these U-turn places, or you get to a roundabout. So they're putting in this brand new roundabout, so that'll help be in the middle of the Opico roundabout, and then there's not a roundabout at the other end. It's actually an overpass. So between the Opico roundabout and the overpass, there's one more traffic circle in the middle that'll help with people trying to go left, basically. So I'm very happy about what's happening with this highway. I cannot wait till it's done. Hopefully no more landslides because of the work they've done with that. And I don't know, maybe just this one utility interruption on Friday, and then hopefully we'll be smooth sailing from here on out. So reflecting on our journey. When I was at the restaurant the other night with the kids at Pollo Campero, we came in, I asked for a table for 4, at least I can ask for a table for 4. And we sat down, we ordered from the menu, and I don't normally get a lot of questions. And then she asked me a question, and I had to go get the translator to look at what she said. And it was, is there more people coming? Because when we go to Pollo Campero, we order enough for our army. So we order like a 12-piece of chicken and a pizza. And we always take home some of that for leftovers the next day. So she thought, if I'm going to order this much chicken, 12 pieces of chicken and a pizza, there better be more people coming. So that was the question she asked me. But we got through that. I'm like, no, it's just us. Solo cuatro. We ordered the food, and I was just sitting down where I was kind of like dancing with the music, and it just felt like home. It just felt like the place, and I think we've eaten at that one 4 times, but it just felt like that's the place we always go to. That's our stomping ground. That's the place we've hung out at all our lives, even though we've only been here 9 months. It just felt like that. I just felt so relaxed and so at home. And like I said, we left the restaurant. I went to Sarita to get my mocha frappe. I did a little video there. The lady probably thought I was crazy, but that's okay. It was a brand new one. Everything was spotlessly clean. Actually, it didn't even look like there was a lot of product in the back because it was mostly all seating. Normally, it's mostly all storefront and just 1 or 2 tables. This one had a lot of tables, had a little cozy nook area with a couple of chairs. I just sat down feeling like, I feel like this is the local coffee shop or ice cream shop in this case that I always hung out in. It just felt like home. I was so relaxed. This is our mall. This is where we go to all the time. And I haven't even been there that many times, but it's not even Metro Centro Lourdes, which I have been there lots of times. This is sort of more of an outdoor mall. It's got a parking in the middle, and then all the shops are around the edge, just like a horseshoe. It just felt like that was our home place. And I guess that's what I've noticed the most in this change in the 9 months is that I didn't have that feeling of being home until really just the other night. I just maybe just registered in my mind for the first time, like, this is home. And maybe it's because Canada's changing so rapidly. It's almost unrecognizable. Like I said, I loved Canada in the 80s. Canada in the 80s was safe. It was amazing. And you had families and friendships. And maybe everyone wasn't living for themselves back then. Maybe it was more community-based. At least that's how it felt. I grew up in a trailer park in Port Hawkesbury, so we were all very close. There was only so many families there. So many kids there. My mom knew everyone. My mom babysat for people. Like, that was a close-knit community. That's kind of how it feels like here. But that's not the Canada I left. The Canada I left is completely unrecognizable. Everyone lives for themselves. And even though we lived in the country in a very small area with maybe just 6 other houses around us, I had only been in one of those neighbors' homes once. And we lived there for 13 years. So I don't feel like that was necessarily community-like. Not like here. Here it's very community. Like on Christmas Eve, when we were over at the kids' friend's house, they invited us in and to enjoy their Christmas Eve festivities and food with them. And that's the first time, well, actually it's the second time we met them because they came to the gate one time to introduce themselves. But, we were welcomed in on a holiday, no less, that's normally reserved for family. Whereas in Canada, I never even went into my neighbor's house for coffee. So I feel like that's the real difference between El Salvador and Canada. That feeling of community, the feeling of I'm home, where I'm getting that here in El Salvador. I never got that in Ontario. I never had that feeling, even living there a majority of my life. And like I said, Canada nowadays, to me, it's just unrecognizable. The sense of family I had growing up will never be able to be gotten with the way the government treats the people now. It's very sad. And people are just being taxed to death. I went to order something in Canada for my husband to bring back when he comes back to El Salvador. And I got through the checkout process and then I felt ripped off because I forgot there was taxes added on at the end. I was like, oh, I forgot about the tax. It's just that much more expensive. Like everything else in Canada is really expensive. This added this much more tax onto it. I just felt ripped off. Here, you buy a bottle of water and it says this is $3.99. It's just $3.99. It's not $3.99 plus 13% tax. Taxation is slavery. I don't know if people actually realize that. That is the biggest difference between El Salvador and Canada, is that sense of freedom. And I'm really getting adjusted to that sense of freedom here. I'm really acclimatizing. When I reflect on our journey and I compare lives in Canada and compare lives here, it's the freedom here to live my life without fear of being censored, getting arrested for mean tweets or any of that, or Canada is so close to where the UK is right now, it's terrifying. I mean, the Canadian government didn't even bother putting out a budget this spring. What's that? Is that like the only ever time that's happened? Seriously? They're just running amok with the taxpayer dollars? There's no sense of freedom in Canada. Freedom is here in El Salvador. This is where I feel freedom. Some people have asked me, would I ever consider going back to Canada? Or even, when am I planning on going back to Canada? My answer is never. I'm never planning on going back to Canada. Unless something happens in this country and it turns back into what it was before, I'm not leaving. Canada isn't what it used to be. Like I said, the 80s were great. The last decade's horrible, and I can't imagine what the future holds. El Salvador is our Plan A country. It's way better than Canada for a lot of reasons. And if you're awake, you probably realize how bad Canada has gotten, and you are looking for a place to go. I suggest El Salvador. You definitely have to come do a scouting trip, give it a chance. It's safe. It has good, friendly people here that give you that sense of community, that make you feel like you're at home. And the government doesn't have its hand in your pocket as it's freezing your bank account and telling you that it's for your protection that they're taking away all your human rights and freedoms. If you're tired of being abused by Canada or any other Western country with similar lack of morals and values, then you should consider El Salvador for your next move. Freedom isn't free, but in El Salvador, the government isn't actively trying to enslave you. Thank you for joining us on this journey. I'll be doing these monthly updates every month up till 12 months, so we got 3 more months left. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Ask us any questions in the comments. I love reading them all, and I try to answer them in the comments or in my next video. Don't forget our Monday night call. The information's in the description below, and you just have to join us at 7 o'clock p.m. El Salvador time. See you in the next one.
Don't forget to hit the like button.